On Saturday, March 16, 2024, at approximately 9:10 a.m., South Beloit police officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle and subsequently identified the front seat passenger as 19-year-old Ray Castro, who had outstanding felony warrants. Officers attempted to handcuff Castro, but he resisted arrest and began wrestling with the officers, pulling one of the officers into the vehicle. He then yelled at the driver to step on it. The officer inside the vehicle reached over and turned off the ignition. However, Castro reached over, started the vehicle, and put the vehicle in drive and yelled again at the driver to drive off, which the driver did. As the vehicle pulled away, one officer was pinned inside the vehicle by Castro and another officer was nearly struck by the vehicle as it pulled away. The officer inside the vehicle was pinned down by Castro, and as the two struggled, the officer drew his handgun and shot the driver in the leg, causing the car to drive into the ditch before stopping. Castro and the officer continued to struggle, and Castro was able to break free and began to run from the scene. Officers attempted to use tasers to take Castro into custody but were unsuccessful, and Castro ran from the scene. Castro took a citizen/victim's keys and fled the business in the citizen/victim's vehicle. Sergeant Robert Lewis and Officer Ryan Sarver responded from the Roscoe Police Department. Sergeant Lewis subsequently located Castro fleeing in a Matron SUV and initiated a pursuit. At the intersection of Central Avenue and Strong Avenue, Officer Sarver's squad struck the rear axle area on Castro's vehicle, which caused Castro's vehicle to spin around, ending up behind Officer Sarver's squad, sideways in the road, and stopped. Sergeant Lewis stopped his squad, opened his door, exited his cruiser and pointed his firearm at Castro's vehicle as Castro's vehicle accelerated. Castro spun his vehicle around so that it was headed at speed toward the driver's side of Sergeant Lewis' squad, and Sergeant Lewis fired several rounds at Castro's vehicle. As his cruiser was being struck by Castro's vehicle, Sergeant Lewis fired multiple rounds from his firearm at Castro's vehicle and struck Castro, fatally wounding him.
East on strong, east on strong. Yep, we just 1050 to the squad. Central on strong, we're wiping out. Whole trip. Reload.
Shot fired. Central strong, 97.
7 CM 20, shots fired, officer shots fired, suspect down.
Copy, 7 CM 20, continue 1078, shots fired, suspect down.
TAC 2, 7 CM 20, I need you to notify 7 King 1.
Training points. 1. This case involves an extensive backstory and highlights the risk/reward balance of pursuits. One must always consider the inherent need to apprehend a dangerous subject intent on evading detention and having no regard for the harm caused to officers or bystanders. 2. A critical risk factor during pursuits is when officers believe it to be over but a subject successfully continues fleeing. Attempting to exit a cruiser prior to a vehicle being totally disabled leads to moments where a subject can still cause harm by striking officers with the vehicle, inadvertently or deliberately.
They just tried to pit it there at Central Prairie. They pitted it.
Put
your hands up! Shots fired! 45 suspect is down, roll EMS.
3. In some instances, firing from inside of the vehicle is necessary. Officers should always consider, however, that a lack of mobility keeps you on the X if the bad guy is able to return force. The ability to reposition is important even if the officer has the tactical advantage of firing first. Maintaining a clear area in the front passenger compartment and being physically capable/agile enough to exit through it can be a component of surviving violent encounters.